Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something clicked.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Do you have any parts that you'd like to get to know better or change your relationship with?
I've been, I guess, I wouldn't say particularly public facing, but very communicative with strangers or the outside world, so to speak, people I'm not in circles with. I guess there is a sense of wanting to talk to a part that handles that.
Okay.
And getting to know that part. And cause I guess I don't naturally feel like I do these, have this kind of communication with others. Even though I do it, I feel disconnected or performative or so.
Okay. And is this something that you're required to do for work, or is it something you're pushing yourself to do, or you're just finding yourself being drawn to?
All of the above. I'd say that I'm drawn to it to a point. I'm required to do it for my work. And not only am I required to do it, I'm being groomed in a way to do it, or at least told I'm doing great and should keep up the work. So I feel like it's part of me. There's a part of me that handles it, and I want to understand that a little more and get comfortable with it, because I'm not comfortable.
Okay. All right. So when you're in those situations and you have this part coming up, where do you notice it, in or around your body?
I think it's in my chest. 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 I think it's in my chest say throat.
Mm-hmm.
Throat and itchy, dull feeling.
Okay. And how do you feel towards it now?
It's. I'm agreeing with its place. I feel curious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel completely anxious over it. I just feel a tinge of curious tension or curious frustration. If that makes any sense.
You mentioned being uncomfortable, I guess, when you're in those situations, the public-facing situations. Does that feel like, is that like this part is uncomfortable, or is there some other part that's like watching it and uncomfortable by it?
That's a good point. I think it is another part.
Mm-hmm.
That feels the discomfort, the anxiety. I had to give a conference talk to a few people, or like 50 people, and that, I'm developed this, did this, practiced it, and then just feel, and then I executed it, and then the first thing I did when I left that virtual room was just freak out. Oh my God, I did that. I did this. I just complete, utter, and then that took like 3 days to shake off. Like every now and then I would go, I almost physically spaz out and be like, oh, I fucked up. And then, yeah, I guess that's a part of the visit too.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the part that handles the public facing. There's the part that gets uncomfortable with it, has the anxiety. And then I don't know if this is different, but what you were calling the curious frustration, or yeah, the frustration about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a bit at play, I guess, now that I've added my recent experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which feels like it needs your attention most, or is there one that feels like it's at the front of the line?
You know what? I guess I'm hiding away from that story, my experience, and just putting it away. So I think that needs attention.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And you mean like the afterwards freak out part?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't feel like the throat. It feels like it's more a part near my heart.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you mentioned some of the messages that it's sending, the like, I did bad, failed, or whatever, and then having that kind of like physical spaz out sensation.
Well, I guess the physical is me, actually, just, doing, I don't know, getting frustrated nonsensically and, having many tame, I'm not going to say it's tame, but non-violent, just like, why did I do that? Saying it out loud.
Yeah.
And I did it in front of like my friend that I was hanging out with. And it's like, what is, and I'm just like, it's this stupid presentation I did. And I feel like I didn't do good in it, even though it went okay.
Okay. How are you feeling towards that part now, or the one that you'd like to get to know, the one in the heart?
I'm feeling okay. Like the more I say it out loud, as trivial, and I think that's the thing. I treat it as it is trivial, but it isn't trivial. But the more I'm talking about it here, the more I'm like, okay, I'm being mindful of it. And I don't know, like, do I still keep on having to have these moments, or can I just extinguish that in the future? Because it is a little draining. I feel drained from it.
Yeah, you said it took 3 days to shake off.
Yeah, and I thought that was fast recovery. Like, to me, that feels fast. It's like, okay, 3 days, like...
Right. Okay. So if you're feeling curious about getting to know that part, you could just let it know that. Invite it to talk with you. Do whatever you can to deepen your access to it. And then ask what it would like for you to know about it.
The more I see the part, the more I just see myself. I see it like me at a podium. And it's like myself questioning, grilling me.
Yourself questioning and grilling you?
Like, it's like an angry version of me.
And that is the angry one at the podium, or is the angry one like in the audience?
It's the speaker. It's yeah. I'm not the audience. I'm the audience to this, in a way, looking at this part.
Yeah. And how are you feeling towards it?
Not really good.
Yeah. And what's that like? Is it making you feel small, or making you feel, in what way?
It makes me feel intimidated. That it feels like this part is just a reflection of me, but in almost evil way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So it sounds like there's the part that's angry one at the podium, and then there's the part that's kind of receiving that and being intimidated by it, which you could try just asking that part if it will give you space to work with the angry part, and just seeing how it responds to that. And you could let it know that, you can get to it also.
I think it gives me more space. I think some of the feelings that I get from this angry part is this notion of just being occupied. Doesn't feel like naturally, or doesn't feel like the effort is natural. Feels like they're there and they're occupied, or they're really busy, or
The part at the podium is occupied or really busy?
yeah, when I ask for space, I feel like I'm just more like pushed aside. Like, here's your space.
Okay, so the part that you were asking for space, were you asking the intimidated part or the angry at the podium part?
I was asking the angry at the podium part.
Okay. Yeah, so I was suggesting, or I am suggesting that you ask the part that's intimidated
Okay.
for space so that you can work with the angry part. It just seems it seems like that would be the order to go in, but that you can get to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, can you get that intimidated part to step back?
Yeah, slowly and surely.
Great. And it can, like any part, if they have to come back in, they can. So turning back to the angry part, now how are you feeling towards it?
Well, I am feeling like a spectator, literally like looking up to it I feel watched, or like I feel like I am looking up and I'm being watched from this like pedestal podium. Mm-hmm. So I don't really feel I put away the intimidated part.
Uh-huh.
But there's something about this, like how I feel and how I'm seeing this right now, these parts that make me feel like I'm supposed to be looking up.
Okay. And I guess kind of by definition, the part at the podium is looking down on you, kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You could try asking the part at the podium how old it thinks you are.
For some reason I'm getting the number 34.
Okay.
That's a lot. I never get numbers older than this is the first.
Okay, so it's older than you are.
It's older than I am, and yeah, I've never. So it's like 10, 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. And that feeling of looking up, is that, I know you said you asked the intimidation part to kind of step back. Is there some other part that feels like it's kind of being subject to this angry part? Or are you having some of that curiosity and compassion available to get to know it?
I think I do have the curiosity, mm-hmm. But it almost feels very faint compared to something that this part seems very domineering or mm-hmm. dominant.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's stern. And now I can really feel that. Like I feel it. Deeply and not in my heart per se now, more like the back of my heart and like in my back beneath the heart.
Okay. Okay. Well, again, if it feels too uncomfortable, you don't feel like going there, if other parts have concerns, we don't have to go there. Other options are, I could try talking with this part directly. Or if you're feeling up for it, then you just ask this part what it wants you to know.
I think the more I ask, the more I feel like this part is telling me that it's here to tell everyone lessons and give direction.
Mm-hmm.
And here to be look up, look and see that, understand it, or spend time listening to this part. And I think I feel like I'm asking, like, how long would this be? And the response is, I can be here as long as you want.
The angry part, the part of the podium saying that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And when you're asking it, how long will this be? Do you mean like in our conversation right now, or do you mean like how long does it want to be in that role?
Yeah, I'm like, how long, I guess, is a lesson or a lecture? So beyond this call.
Mm-hmm. So you might try kind of going around that and just letting it know that you're more interested in learning about it, like the lecture that it has to give may feel really important to it, and it might be really important, but that our goal is to kind of understand this part more, why it's in this role, why, how it feels about its role, what it's there to do.
And I think, yeah, asking this, it is there to teach others.
Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I can. I'm sensing things. Yeah, and this makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And what is this part afraid would happen if it didn't do that job?
The audience won't get their results. That's what I'm getting.
Uh-huh.
His subjects won't get anything worthwhile or
Mm-hmm.
from whatever this part wants to teach.
Okay. And what would be so bad about that? Just ask it that. And remind you that you don't have to share the answers that it gives with me if you don't want.
Failure, I think, is what this part would feel.
Okay. Does that make sense to you, the failure that it's pointing to and the feelings around that?
Yeah, I think so. And it,
And do you still feel like you're in the audience among the subjects? Or do you
yes
have
and
a...
no.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I appreciate this, I, even though I feel like I'm one with this part and I'm the audience at the same time, I feel these dimensions in a different way that feels productive for both parts, the audience and...
Right. Yeah, you have kind of another perspective.
Pretty trippy feeling at the moment I'm getting.
You were mentioning some appreciation. Can you extend that appreciation to this part and let it know that you see its intention to keep other parts, or to keep that feeling of failure from affecting you too much?
Yep.
And how's that being received?
Mm. Well, like it, yeah, pretty well. I think it's a start.
And if you were able to go to those parts that are hurt by that feeling of failure, or carry that burden, carry that pain, and this part at the podium didn't have to work so hard, what would it rather be doing with its energy inside of you?
I think it would feel drawn still to teaching and talking to people, in casual manners, conversations, less of
Needing to dominate.
the domination. But I think all of this, I feel like the audience, quote unquote, this audience I get a sense that there is a bit more empathy to this domineering part lecturer.
Mm-hmm. You're saying that you have more empathy, or the audience has more?
I think like gathering my feeling of the other parts of my system, which does feel like the audience in general, that it feels more understanding of this part. And I think it feels different than yesterday or before this call. So
I'm curious, if you were to ask the part, when it sees that audience, maybe ask it what it sees in the audience, what type of parts, what type of people, maybe what age it sees in the audience, if it has an answer for that.
I think it sees a lot of different ages and sees this audience as a mission in a way.
Sounds like it's been working hard with a lot of parts, right? It's kind of addressing a bunch of parts.
Yeah,
and it's felt important for it to kind of be to be dominating a lot of conversations.
It's a strong part. I didn't think it would be this strong, actually.
Yeah.
I don't even started this call with, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, this is the beauty of IFS. There's always something to learn.
I'm good. Oh, I had this. And then, bam, this feels as strong as.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking about the 10-year-old.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. Does that part at all feel like it's related to this?
I don't think so in a way. Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to be like, hey, is this related to you? And no, it doesn't in a way. I can hypothesize.
We'll do that.
Sorry?
I said we could do that later.
Yeah, I think we'll save it for another time.
I just mean the hypothesizing. I just mean while you have this part's attention, and I know it does sound like it's a dominant part and it's kind of intense, but just to not lose it while we have it here. I was curious if this podium and this audience, if there is like what kind of structure does it seem to be in, if any?
Like you mean like interior like structure or just
like what's the room like?
Oh, it almost feels like a church. Rows It almost reminds me of the same feeling maybe like 5 calls ago. Who knows how many calls it was when this row feels like this row was penetrating me in a way or something like that. Definitely echoes that kind of environment.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yep. And yeah, now, I mean, when I think about podiums, I think about, of course, institutions, and church being one of them, university being one of them, television, media. I don't know. Podiums are, I guess, to me, symbolize power, something to look up to.
Yeah.
They're there to elevate.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why podiums exist in a way, and I can see that function. Yeah. I was actually feeling that before you. Yeah, I was feeling that. I'm going to just now call it like the row effect for me. Mm-hmm. ROW, this row. I was feeling that with the audience part.
Yeah.
And that seems to induce some sort of like, a little tension.
Yeah. Again, with this angry part, does it have any requests of you? Is there anything it would like from you going forward? Is there anything that you can do for it to help it feel less like it doesn't need to work so hard, and that it can have more of those natural conversations?
I don't think there's much. Like, I feel like it is just taking space and breaks.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? I didn't catch it.
I don't. All I'm getting is a sense that this part just needs some breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe less energy from others sometimes.
Others in your external world or other parts?
Good question. I feel like this part is like can go deep inside and also just come up to the surface and be its almost human. So I just feel so. It's almost like this part is me. Literally, I just like.
Yeah. So again, just trying to figure out what it feels like it would need to be able to have that break, to take the breaks. Even if it's just a wish list. Doesn't have to be anything that you're committing to.
I think it is some attention, just some attention. Even though I feel like this part already gets so much attention. There's something even it's asking maybe for specific attention.
I mean, it makes sense to me. I think if I can, well, I'd be making some assumptions or presuppositions.
I'm open.
Yeah. So many our parts tend to want attention from the self. And they're worn out. They're worn out from the attention by other parts, even if they feel like that's their job and they have to keep doing it. Either they're having to attend too much to other parts, or other parts are harassing them for some reason. And the break often comes from being relieved of having to work with other parts and knowing that they can come to you, you will attend to them. And so I would just check that out with this part. Is it asking for, how would it feel about being less on that stage with other parts and more having a direct line to yourself?
I think it would feel rested.
Yeah.
And have more reflection with itself. Hello? I'm hearing a weird sound.
Okay. I didn't change anything. How about now?
That sounds, that was an interesting sound. I wonder if it was on my end.
I didn't hear anything or touch anything here.
It's all good. I'm probably hearing more sound. I realized that maybe I can't hear the sounds in my room because these headphones have noise canceling, and now I'm realizing what I thought was quiet isn't actually quiet.
Yeah.
All right, going back to that part.
Or it would feel more rested. You talked about it having reflection time with itself.
Yeah, I think this part deeply wants that, because it's been so occupied with trying to lecture others.
Yeah.
Other parts and the audience. So yeah, I couldn't, you said it so well. Like, it's funny because I was like, yeah, it wants attention, but it already gets attention.
Yeah.
But I think it's like this.
It's got a
attention.
job.
yeah, that attention that it has seems work related,
Right.
literally.
Mm-hmm.
And wants a friend.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that going forward? Do you feel like that's something that you can help create for it and help be for it?
Yeah, I think that friendship for this part wasn't something I thought of. And now it makes sense.
Yeah. It's great. Well, you know the usual prescriptions and all the usual kind of suggestions around staying in touch with parts and continuing to build that relationship. So you might just check with it, like if it has a preference around that, or if you want to brainstorm more with that, around that. Just whatever works best for you in this part around kind of building that in the future.
I think it's weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Weekly.
And you might, let those other parts that are in its orbit, whether that's parts in the audience or parts that fear of failure, or parts, the row effect parts, or the 10-year-old, or anybody who's in that constellation, just let them know that you'd like to get to all of them. This part clearly has a lot of power in there, and it's sounds like it'd be worth your time to stick with it.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions for that part while you have its attention? Or anything else you want to do with it?
I think I'm good with this part.
Cool.
Part can go backstage now.
Yeah.
For a bit.
All right. How was that? I mean, did that feel like progress or a good thing?
If it feels like progress. The session. Are we talking about the session?
Yeah.
It feels like progress. I feel like the session definitely felt trippy.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's funny. Now I think I have a lot of thinking about the rose, thinking about the church, and now thinking about like this work, but also now like the idea of exorcism, which I will not induce on my parts, like this idea of exorcism. But now I'm like, oh, interesting. What is exorcism? It's almost like trying to banish a part or an evil part. And so I'm like thinking about exorcism right now. Which is funny. It's like here's a part that's like it's like I was raised like this part is bad or these parts are bad. We have to banish them.
Sure.
And let's
common. It's common everywhere, whether in the church, outside the church. I mean, that just the notion.
I guess I'm talking from my experience.
Yeah, we're supposed to push away things that don't seem useful or that are painful, hide them, or excise them.
Sort of a cool concept in general. I like the name of it, exorcism, the exorcist. Here's the duty.
It's fascinating, but it's so the opposite of what IFS is. In fact, I think the parallel is that when we go there, like we'll stir those demons up. We'll wake them up and have a conversation with them, like in an exorcism. But we're not trying to banish them. We're trying to befriend them.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I think when going back to this session, when, just the simple idea of like, it needs a friend.
Yeah.
I'm just not used to that. Even still, like, as much as I've done this work with you and like, I feel like I've been better at it. I'm not used to it. No. Like, I'm not used to saying like, this thing should be a friend. Like, how do I become friends with this? I'm not used to that. It doesn't come naturally with, so.
Yeah, it's a completely new paradigm.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
That's like good. That with everyone. I mean, it's just not our natural response. That's why they're still there making so much noise, because they don't feel like they're friends with us. So it's kind of by definition. It's kind of by definition how the conclusion every time is like, oh, that's why this part is doing what it does.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess this is good reason for me to book some more sessions now. And
I hope so. Even if it is full, I'm happy to make time for you. And like tonight, I think that I normally don't have this hour available, but I feel good right now, so maybe I should make this hour available. I thought I would be too tired, at this time of day, but I feel pretty good. So I'm
flexible. Do you think it's your fasting, or?
It's probably my fasting, honestly. I think I have all kinds of stuff going on, and when I don't eat, it's like just all clears out. So I'll figure that out.
Cool, yeah. Good on you for fasting.
Yeah, always experimenting.
Yeah.
But cool. Book some more time. If none of those times are good for you, I'll make some more.
Cool. I'll reach out to you. Awesome. Well, I'll talk to you on Discord.
Okay. See you around.
Cool. See you,
Have
James.
a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.